Trixie from Pixel Party here. Today we're gonna be talking about all the series lore that you need to know before embarking on the epic journey that is Baldur's Gate 3. Set to take place on a new adventure in the Forgotten Realms, a century after the previous games. While it seems BG3 is going to serve more as a spiritual successor, the game isn't going to directly follow the Bhaal spawn storyline that was heavily featured in the previous games. Instead, we have a new story that is built upon the established lore and history of the earlier Baldur's Gate games. Of course, fans of the series can expect references to the previous games and cameos from familiar characters such as Minsc. But to fully grasp the tone and setting of Baldur's Gate 3, I think it's essential for us to understand the specific major events that have led up to the storyline so far. And that is exactly what we're going to be uncovering today, so that when we go into Baldur's Gate 3, we know what to expect and what has occurred beforehand. If you enjoy our content, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos and releases. We'll be covering this game a lot more in the future. As a preface, the previous Baldur's Gate games are deeply connected to the Time of Troubles, a chaotic period in the history of the Forgotten Realms campaign setting. This occurred during the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons era of D&D. During this time of troubles, the gods of Faerun were forced to walk the earth as mortals, with only a fraction of their power at their disposal. This caused magic to become unreliable, and many of the gods were killed, including Bane, the god of tyranny, Merkel, the god of the dead, and Bhaal, the god of murder. Now, Bhaal, however, was given a prophecy about his own death, and he concocted a plan to return and reclaim his power, thus setting the stage for the Baldur's Gate series. This series followed the journey of the Bhaal spawn, a group of children fathered by Bhaal before his death, who were destined to become powerful beings. The Bhaal spawn were pursued by different factions that sought to use their power for their own purposes. In Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, players encountered captivating characters and faced various challenges that put their adventuring skills to the test. By the time Baldur's Gate was released in 1998, the same year I was born, it immerses players in a tale of divine murder and a dire iron shortage in the year 1368. The storyline revolves around the god of murder, Bhaal, and his offspring, who are coming of age in the midst of chaos. Meanwhile, the southern Sword Coast region is plagued by a scarcity of iron that results from a mine near Nashkel that produces corrupted iron. At the very beginning of the game, the new player character, a nameless orphan who grew up in the Forgotten Realms library city of Candlekeep, and the adopted sister Imoen, are wards of a powerful mage named Gorion. After an assassin's attack on Candlekeep, Gorion and the protagonist flee, only to be ambushed in the wilderness by a warrior named Sarevok. In a selfless act, Gorion sacrifices his life to save the protagonist, who teams up with Imoen to seek answers. The protagonist sets out on an adventure across the Sword Coast and resolves the mystery of the tainted iron in the Nashkel mines. Along the way, they discover the Iron Throne, a powerful trade organization, and learn that Sarevok, the leader of the Iron Throne, is causing chaos to gain power in Baldur's Gate. Upon reaching the city, the protagonist learns that they are a child of Bhaal, and that the Bhaal spawn were created to serve as instruments for Bhaal's resurrection. Further complicating matters, the protagonist discovers that Sarevok is also a Bhaal spawn, and that he is on the verge of being appointed Grand Duke of Baldur's Gate. The protagonist exposes Sarevok's scheme, and the two Bhaal spawn engage in a final battle in an abandoned temple of Bhaal, culminating in Sarevok's defeat. Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of a Man was released in 2000, which begins with the protagonist locked in a cell by the wizard John Irenicus, who's conducting heinous experiments. Imoen, the protagonist's adopted sister and fellow adventurer from the first game, rescues them, and they escape to the city of Athkatla. They are later apprehended by the Cowled Wizards, the city's magical protectors, and are taken to Spellhold, a high-security asylum. The protagonist sets out to free Imoen and enlists the help of a stranger who demands a large sum of money. They also cross paths with Body, a powerful vampire leading a group of undead. After gathering the necessary funds, the protagonist reaches Spellhold, only to discover that Irenicus has taken over and stolen the souls of both them and Imoen. It's then revealed that Imoen is also a Bhaal spawn, and her soul has been given to Body, who happens to be Irenicus's sister. The most powerful Bhaal spawn, Elisime, an elven fighter mage, is killed at the very start of the game, leaving Sendai, Abazagel, Balthazar, and Yagashura as the remaining contenders for the throne. Melissan, a woman who aims to end the war between the Bhaal spawn, is revealed to be a traitor. She was a former high priestess of Bhaal. The protagonist is forced to slay their siblings to stop the war. The final battle takes place at the foot of Bhaal's throne. After confronting Melissan, once defeated, the protagonist is faced with three choices: to become the new god of murder, a benevolent deity, or to destroy the throne of Bhaal and remain mortal. D&D has a canon choice for this decision, as it was revealed that a Bhaal spawn named Abdel Adrian destroyed the throne. However, Bhaal somehow managed to return upon Abdel's death, rendering the events of Baldur's Gate's story somewhat obsolete, or at least this DLC's ending. Nevertheless, the ending of this DLC is very much a player-driven choice, reflecting BioWare and Black Isle Studios' approach. Now, we have Baldur's Gate 3, created by Larian Studios, set in the aftermath of the events of the previous Baldur's Gate games, which saw the Bhaal spawn and their siblings battle for supremacy. At the start of the game, we have a brand new player character who finds themselves on a mind flayer ship known as a Nautiloid, as a prisoner, along with many other captives. After a mind flayer tadpole was inserted into their eye, the Nautiloid causes destruction in Yata, prompting an attack by dragon riding Githyanki. And here, folks, is where we'll end today's video, as we don't want to spoil any other events that unfold in the new installment, and we want to let you explore the game as much as possible. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos and releases. We'll be covering this game a lot more in the future.